Hi, and welcome to the world of PHspeed. My name is Rosie, and in this series of videos, I will introduce PHspeed version 2.0. In this video, I will show you how you can implement PayPal in your application. If you haven't already done that, you must create a developer account on the PayPal website. Then you can log on and open the dashboard. Next, you must create an app identifier. We created PHspeed. You must supply a customer ID and a secret to use this account in your application. You can find this info when you click on the app link. You need to cut and paste these values into the properties of the PayPal component. So let me start PHspeed and show you how to proceed. The first thing to do is to create a project. New in version 2.3 is the simple mode, which is less intimidating than the original. You can still access the original easily, as it allows you to set up parameters that you might need to set up later, but for now, I create the project in simple mode. I will not use a database connection for this demo, so I remove this from the screen. For the same demo purpose, I manually create the screen, but you can speed up your form design with the internal helper functions. PHspeed uses the bootstrap grid method, so I must add rows with columns that will hold my fields. The edit field to enter an amount, a button to start the PayPal process, and a label field to show the result of the payment. I also need to add the PayPal component. The order where you create the components is not essential. You can add these anytime. Now we have to set up the parameters. Before explaining all the parameters, I want to explain the application flow. When you run the application, and the user clicks the Pay button, the control is passed to PayPal. After the transaction, PayPal redirects back with a confirmation or cancel message. You do not have to define these callback functions, as they are dealt with by PHspeed. But as the call from PayPal cannot contain all the security tokens that PHspeed requires, you need to supply a random pass-through code. So, let's go back to the component properties. In this form, I have already set the parameters. The amount is preset, but can get their values from your PHP code, or be entered using the edit field. The brand is required for the API to PayPal. It is not used internally. The client ID and client secret are the values I showed you from the PayPal developer environment, known as the sandbox. The PayPal API uses the customer ID, description, and reference. The order ID can be used for your own reference. The pass-through code is required to be able to process the message returning from PayPal. Finally, the PayPal environment must be set to test and intent to capture, which means that you will have PayPal execute the transaction. Now we need a little programming to respond to the messages that PayPal sends. In real life, you should update your database, send a confirmation email, etc. After all, you want the user to know if the transaction was successful. But in this sample, I will just set a notification on the form by showing a text. The next step is to assign the events to let the application work. First, the application needs to respond to the submission of the form. The code of this event will assign the entered value to the PayPal component and then executes the PayPal transaction. PayPal will respond with a return or cancel message. Here I use the events to display the status of the payment. Now I can save and generate the code. Before I can run the application, I need a test customer and a test credit card number. For the test customer, I go back to my PayPal development environment. As you can see here, you can define many and change their password. Next, I also need a demo credit card. This data can easily be found on the web, and then we are good to go. For the credit card, you can use 123 as the CSV and a date in the future. So let me start the payment. Instead of entering all the values, I will use the demo user with the password. When all the data is entered and validated by PayPal, the PHsPeed application will return with a paid message. If the user aborts, then it depends. You might not get any feedback if the customer closes the browser before payment. To get this application running in production, you will need a review by the PayPal organization, who will then provide you with new keys to set up your application. The PayPal env property must then be set to the status of production. I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching.